Imagine this, you're going about your day, blissfully unaware, when bam! You get hit with the kind of news that makes your stomach do a triple axel. Your property, the one you've poured your heart, soul, and probably an alarming amount of money into, has been sold. And not just sold fraudulently. It's enough to make you want to move into a yurt and live off the grid. But before you start investing in solar panels and composting toilets, we're here to tell you there is hope. Discovering your property has been sold fraudulently can be a devastating experience. It's a violation and a betrayal on the part of the perpetrator. But don't lose hope. While we can't promise you won't develop a nervous twitch and an unhealthy obsession with checking property records, we can give you the tools to fight back. Here are the top 10 steps you should take if you find yourself in this nightmare scenario. First things first, you need to arm yourself. No, put down the crossbow. I'm talking about evidence. This isn't some Liam Neeson movie where you can just threaten people over the phone and get your house back, although that would be amazing. No, you need cold, hard proof. Start by rounding up every single document related to your property, and I mean everything. Deeds, mortgages, tax records, utility bills that note your weird neighbor left you about his prize-winning begonia. It all goes in the pile. You're basically creating a paper trail so dense it would make a snail say, "You're doing too much." Next, jog that memory of yours. Do you remember anyone acting suspiciously interested in your property? Did anyone approach you with an offer that seemed too good to be true? It probably was. Write down names, dates, any details you can remember, no matter how insignificant they seem. And finally, reach out to anyone who might have information about the sale. Neighbors, and especially real estate agents, as they are required to keep documents for years. Even that chatty barista who always seems to know everyone's business. You're basically playing detective here, but instead of a trench coat and fedora, you get to wear comfortable pants. So that's a win. Now that you've got your evidence file that would make Sherlock Holmes proud, it's time to call in the big guns. No, not your know-it-all cousin who claims to be a legal aid because he got out of a speeding ticket once. I'm talking about the actual authorities, the police. Head down to your local police station and report the crime. And yes, this is a crime, not just some unfortunate real estate mishap. Present your mountain of evidence, channel your inner Olivia Benson and file that police report. Now, I know what you're thinking, John. The police don't always take property crimes seriously, and you're not wrong. But having a police report on file is crucial for insurance claims and any future legal action. Plus, you never know, you might just get lucky and get paired with a detective who actually cares about property rights. It's a long shot, but hey, stranger things have happened. Like that time I found a $20 bill in my pocket. That was a good day. Remember that title insurance you probably glossed over when you bought your property? Yeah, now's the time to dig out that policy and hope you actually opted for more than the bare minimum coverage. Contact your title insurance company immediately and file a claim. Explain the situation, provide them with a copy of the police report, and send over all the evidence you've gathered. Think of them as your legal insurance policy against this kind of real estate shenanigans. Now, title insurance companies aren't exactly known for their lightning-fast response times or their overflowing empathy, but they do have a vested interest in resolving this situation. After all, it's their job to ensure your property's title is clear. And if it turns out they missed something, well, let's just say they're going to be very motivated to make things right, or at least as right as they can be after someone stole your house out from under you. Chapter 4. Lawyer up. No, not that kind of lawyering. Okay, this is where things get serious. It's time to bring in the professionals, the people who speak legalese and can navigate the treacherous waters of the legal system lawyers. Specifically, you need to find yourself a real estate attorney who specializes in fraud cases. Think of them as your legal gladiators, ready to fight for your property rights in the arena of justice. But instead of swords and sandals, they'll be armed with legal briefs and well-tailored suits. A good lawyer will be able to assess your case, explain your options, and guide you through the often confusing legal process. They'll also be able to deal with the other parties involved, including the fraudsters themselves, so you don't have to. Because let's face it, the last thing you want to do right now is engage in a polite conversation with the person who stole your house. Chapter 5. Become a property record sleuth. Congratulations, you're now officially on high alert. It's time to channel your inner Nancy Drew and keep a watchful eye on public records. Think of it as your new part-time job, only instead of getting paid, you get the satisfaction of potentially catching a criminal. Regularly check for any property transfers, liens, or encumbrances related to your stolen property. You can usually do this online through your county recorder's office or a third-party website, and trust me, you'll be amazed by how quickly you learn to navigate these websites. You'll be a property record ninja in no time. If you notice any suspicious activity, alert your lawyer immediately. Speed is key here. The faster you act, the better your chances of stopping the fraudsters in their tracks. Remember, these people are basically criminals playing a high-stakes game of Monopoly. Don't let them get away with stealing your boardwalk property. Chapter 6: Channel your inner legal eagle. Sometimes diplomacy and a strongly worded letter just aren't enough. If the fraudsters are particularly stubborn or just really bad at playing by the rules, you might have to take them to court. Filing a civil lawsuit is a big decision, but it's also your best chance at reclaiming your property and seeking damages for the nightmare you've been put through. This is where having a good lawyer really pays off. They'll be able to navigate the complexities of the legal system, gather evidence and present your case in court. And who knows, you might even get your day in court, the chance to finally confront the people who wronged you. Just try to resist the urge to shout "j'accuse." It's probably frowned upon in most courtrooms. Chapter 7: Voiding the deed. Because some documents deserve to disappear. Remember that fraudulent deed that started this whole mess? Yeah, well, it's time to make like a magician and make it disappear. Or at least make it legally disappear. If you can prove that the deed was forged, signed under duress, or obtained through any other illegal means, a court can declare it void or voidable. It's like hitting the reset button on the entire fraudulent transaction. Of course, proving that the deed is invalid requires evidence, documentation, and legal arguments. But hey, you've come this far. What's a little more paperwork at this point? Just think of it as adding another chapter to your ever-growing property saga. In the legal world, sometimes you have to make a choice, to ratify or to rescind. It's like choosing between two doors, only instead of goats and cars, you're dealing with legal contracts and property rights. Ratifying a contract basically means you're agreeing to it, even if it was signed under less than ideal circumstances. This might be an option if, for some reason, you actually want to keep the fraudulent sale in place. Hey, I'm not here to judge. Rescinding a contract, on the other hand, is like hitting the undo button. It cancels the contract and returns everything to the way it was before the whole fraudulent mess began. This is usually the preferred option for most people who've had their property stolen, because, let's be honest, who wants to live with the constant reminder that someone tried to pull a fast one on them? Look, I know that no amount of money can truly compensate for the stress, anxiety, and emotional turmoil of having your property stolen. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be compensated for your troubles. When it comes to fraudulent property sales, you may be entitled to recover damages. And I'm not just talking about the financial losses you've incurred. I'm talking about emotional distress, legal fees, moving expenses, even the cost of therapy to deal with the trauma of it all. Remember, the goal here is to make you whole again, to put you back in the position you would have been in had this whole fraudulent ordeal never happened. It's not about getting rich, it's about getting justice, and maybe a little bit of revenge, but mostly justice. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This is all well and good, but how do I prevent this from happening again? And it's a valid question, because let's face it, once you've been burned by property fraud, you're probably not eager to repeat the experience. That's where title insurance comes in. Think of it as a security system for your property's title, a way to protect yourself from future fraud errors or any other title defects that might be lurking in the shadows. Now, title insurance isn't exactly the most exciting purchase. It's not like buying a new car or a fancy espresso machine, but trust me, it's one of those things you'll be incredibly grateful for if you ever need it. It's like that fire extinguisher you have tucked away in the back of your closet. You hope you never have to use it, but you're sure glad you have it just in case. Discovering your property has been sold fraudulently can feel like a punch to the gut, a betrayal of the highest order. But remember, you're not alone. Property fraud is a serious issue, and unfortunately it happens more often than you might think. But here's the good news. There are steps you can take to fight back. By gathering evidence, reporting the crime, seeking legal advice, and following the steps outlined in this video, you can reclaim your property and seek justice. Remember, acting promptly and seeking legal advice is crucial in these situations. With the right steps and determination, you can reclaim your property and justice. Don't let the actions of criminals define your story. You have the power to fight back, to reclaim what is rightfully yours, and to emerge from this experience stronger and more resilient than ever before. Remember, acting promptly and seeking legal advice is crucial in these situations. With the right steps and determination, you can reclaim your property and justice.